Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Traveling is always an anxiety-inducing event for me. Growing up, we often travel as a family or as a group. The organizer, usually my dad or Steve Veriden, may he rest in power, would say be at this place at this specific time. Normally my brother, Nigel, travels with me or meets me at my destination. Even when I went with Tom Olin, I went to DC for a day and somebody helped me out. Normally we travel in a big group. I remember we chartered a bus from a local bus company in addition to the 2 buses from the independent living center that we had. Yay, we had at least 3 buses and a trailer. I was not blowing smoke when I told you that I knew how to protest correctly and safely. In 2013, my attendant and I took Megabus from the convention center in Pittsburgh to Union Station in Washington, D.C. for the National Adapt protest. The reason why I was the only one going is because there was a chapter that was not fully in it. The entire group was not fully in it. When National Adapt was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, my state's capital, the chapter, which was not affiliated with ours, was making up their own chants that had nothing to do with the issues, did not listen to the leadership, and was really just a nuisance. At the strategy meeting in January, the leadership, which I was a part of at that time, decided to not be supporting them, blackballing them. For those who do not know, blackballing somebody is expelling them from the club. Our chapter basically said we do not want to go due to this other chapter being blackballed, which made me angry. They said we were not going to go. They decided to just send my attendant, my brother, and I knew where to go because Nigel and I did the trip together the year prior. Now, quite honestly, I am horrible at directions, but I knew we had to be at the convention center. Unlike Greyhound or Amtrak, which I will be taking in a few weeks, Megabus doesn't have terminals of their own. They use whatever the big meeting place is available. I told the van driver to take my attendant and me to the convention center, but he was insisting on taking me to the Greyhound station. I said, pull over and let us out. He did. We ended up in the right spot and made it to D.C. Jason, my other brother, met Cindy and me outside of Union Station and walked us back to the hotel. That was the first time I traveled by myself. coming home was a little easier. But again, the driver was at the wrong station. So my mother had to call the driver to tell him where to pick me up. Eventually I got home. This mix-up is partly why I had to wash my hands of the group, and for me that was the hardest decision I made. My chapter wasn't fully in it. It is hard to travel by myself with an attendant. This is part of the reason why I do not go to national protests anymore. The other is I find my talents are more useful to the movement doing social media posts than actually being out on the street. At the beginning of the week, I wrote a blog post entitled Keys to Community Living, in which I discuss how housing, wages, and services keep me and other people with disabilities free and living in my community, which was the theme for this week. I prefer this rather than being on the front lines. It is up on Tumblr and blogpost.com. I also post and share pictures on all of my social media accounts, so please follow me. Remember, I grew up in Adapt. I am just as passionate now than I have ever been. It is just unfortunate, because of the courageous advocates and activists getting old, and there is little youth to replace them. I am going to be 40 this year. I do what I can. Traveling for anybody is not easy, but especially for somebody who relies on a personal care attendant. I am just thankful that my mom could help me in June. Please like this video and hit subscribe so you will not miss any of my future videos. Please consider following me on my other social media accounts so you can stay up to date. I will see you soon.